At age 7, John Bousman Riddle, with his siblings and parents, William H. and Maximilia Bousman Riddle, decided to leave their corn farm in Illinois to cross the Great Plains for Oregon. In April of 1853, their family of 11 joined the wagon train led by Cornelius Hill, who brought them through the rugged southern route into the Canyonville area. The Riddles were the first white settlers in Cow Creek Valley. J.B. grew up on the donation land claim number 39, staked to the north of Cow Creek Falls in the vicinity of Old Piney Mountain, or Nickel Mountain. Their nearest neighbors were 8 miles distant. The whole family worked long hours each day to establish their new Glenbrook home and farm. The children quickly became playmates and hunting comrades with the children of Chief Miwaletta's 4 Indian bands. This contributed to an exchange of language and habits of both cultures. Bouse was called Tapuha, meaning white eyebrows. In 1863, at the age of 19, Bouse married Jenny Feathers and purchased the entire land claim of Mr. Vanden Bosch for $800. Sadly, just 2 years later, his wife and young son were drowned in a river crossing accident. Mary Frances Catchings, the first white child born in the Cow Creek Valley, became the second wife of John Bousman Riddle in 1867 at the age of 15. The lovely Queen Anne style home, which you see here, 221 South Main Street, was their retirement home, built in 1894, of the same style as John's childhood home in Illinois. During those intervening years, J.B. platted the town of Riddle, and for $1 he sold an 8-acre railroad right-of-way through his property. He built a hotel which burned down 13 years later. Then he built the Riddle House, or Hotel Riddle, near the railway station, later adding a walkway to a saloon adjacent to the hotel. He built the Brick Hall, currently the liquor store, for larger meeting place, and several storefronts, including the Riddle State Bank, of which he was president next to the current post office, a livery barn, and a home in Riddle for each of his 5 children, along with several more dwellings. He was one of the foremost men in the city and was actively interested in all lines of commercial development. He was an active member of the Masons, the Elks, and the Knights of Pythias, among others. Because no one had much money to work on J.B. and Mary's home through most of the decades, most of the home retains its originality. It's constructed almost completely of fir using square nails. It has one of the first cement basements or cellars in all of Douglas County. No fireplace exists. Rather, the house was heated with wood stoves. The burn marks on the floor in the dining room where the parlor stove stood are still visible. And there is a large round hole which has been covered up in the bedroom wall beside the chimney. Fortunately, no one has taken the chimney down. It now provides a nesting spot for Vox swifts on their springtime migration from Mexico to Canada. There had been a second level across the back porch. There are 3 exit doors from the bedrooms onto the porch deck surface. A coffin door installed at a slight angle remains on the west side of the dining room, which was most convenient since both J.B. and Mary died in the home, and at least the funeral for him was held there as well. Almost all of the windows, many of which have the original wavy glass, are double hung. The top window can be pulled down a bit, and the bottom window pushed up, allowing cooler air to come in the bottom and the hot air inside the room to exit the top window. The bathrooms are a question. The current owner can see holes for the indoor plumbing. Cold water only into the kitchen. Owner Sally Gilcrease adds, "We think the upstairs bathroom was added by dividing the bedroom across the back of the house into a smaller bedroom and bathroom." The only other major remodel was the removal of pocket doors between the parlor and the dining room. By doing that, it created a large great room type space. Unfortunately, removing the pocket door and supporting walls made the second floor drop about 3 to 5 inches and cracked the plaster in the ceilings. We did install a beautiful oak half wall in place of the old pocket doors. The original doors were nowhere to be found anywhere on the property, attic, basement, or barns. One of our first projects was to restore the floors. They're gorgeous, and the wood's probably 300 to 500 years old. It was old-growth fir when it was cut back in 1894 and has been used daily for the last 128 years. J.B. occupied the house until his death on October 11th, 1914. This was a booming period of venison barbecue days. 4th of July picnics, and dances. The Riddle Concert Band was at its peak membership and played weekly concerts during the summer on its own Main Street bandstand. A new steel bridge replaced the old covered bridge at the end of Main Street. And the Pacific Highway was routed through Riddle. Because of the railway station, Riddle became the hub of commerce for all of South Douglas County, with freight as well as passenger trains. John's widow, Mary, continued to live in the home for many years. Her hair became a glistening shade of silver white, and she was affectionately called Aunt Mary by both friends and relatives. She lived until 1938. She had been a constant helper in every endeavor, and her husband's obituary stated, "This was an especially happy union. If a man ever had a helpmate, J.B. Riddle certainly enjoyed that blessing in the companionship of the noble-hearted woman who shared his lot through all these many years, his constant helper in work and pleasure, sickness and in health, prosperity and adversity, and to whom now, realizing how great is her loss, the sympathy of the community is being poured out."